Here, there's three of them. I caught them all.
All right, hey, you ready? All right. Since you talked, I'll just leave.
I don't know.
All right. Put yourself on mute.
No, I mean, I know.
Good evening. Stand for pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to the veterans and their families. We appreciate the sacrifice. Okay, this is a voting session tonight. First on the agenda is the minute approval for May the 4th, 2023 work session. These minutes were provided on May 9th to all council members. Is there any corrections, concerns, or discussion at this time? If there's no changes to the minutes, I'd ask for a motion. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Next on the agenda is to approve the sale of 330 Jefferson Street. To accept the bid offer and sale of 330 Jefferson Street. The building was auctioned on May 15, 2023 by Classic Realty and Auction Company. The council has the contract and the sell price. I'm going to refer this to you, Counselor, so we don't make any errors.
Sure, this, the contract for y'all to review and approve tonight is for the sales price. It has all the terms, including payment of commissions and, premium, as well as earnest money, conditions of closing. Mr. Miller, the sales here present, can answer any questions as well. But unless there's any, if you want to have discussion or debate about this, this is something that probably should happen in executive session. Otherwise, if y'all are okay with it, you just need a motion to approve, or if you want to reject it, you can move to reject. I reviewed the form, everything's in order and fine.
I think the only thing I've got, Jody, and this is just me being nitpicky, where Clark County is scratched out right here, we have all parties initial that before it gets completely.
I scratched it out before anybody signed it,
Okay, all right.
but I will get into it initially.
I'm just so used to, if you mark something out on a contract for real estate, we just initial it, so this is me being nitpicky.
It was done before anybody signed it.
Okay.
The good news is the plat will take priority over any
I know.
inaccuracies in the contract.
I know.
Okay, if there's no discussion, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the sale of 330 Jefferson Street for 100, will it be 148,000 or the 162,800?
Contract price.
Contract price is $162,800.
Or contract price, 162,800.
Wait a second. All those in favor? The motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is ordinance O-23-04. This is the second reading. This is an ordinance amending the Unified Development Code of the City of Statham, Georgia, in Article 13, zoning amendments and procedures, Division 1, text procedural requirements for certain residential zoning decisions to amend Article 13, Zone Amendments and Procedures, Division 2, amendments to the official zoning map, rezoning to add a new section 13-215, special notice and procedural requirements for certain city-initiated residential rezonings, to amend Article 13, zoning amendments and procedures, to add Division 6, appeals, to amend Article 14, variances and appeals, Division 1, variances, Section 14-115, finality and legal recourse, to amend Article 15, subdivision of land, Division 2, general provisions, Section 15-206, creation of homeowners association, to establish an effective date to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide for severability, to provide for codification, and for other purposes. Counselor, would you like to give us a legal and short?
As we discussed at the work session, this does two things. First, it adopts the revised appeals procedures that was part of state legislation passed in the Gold Dome last session. We had until June 1st, I believe, to update and make sure that our code was in compliance with those statutes. This is basically a copy and paste of those statutes, so it spells out how an aggrieved party would appeal a zoning decision if they so desired. And then the second thing that it does is it imposes a requirement on approval of any final plat for any subdivision of property that said subdivision has to be subject to a mandatory HOA or condominium association, the case may be, that has restrictive covenants, and that those restrictive covenants include a prohibition of rental of more than 10% of the units within the subdivision with a additional 5% allowance for hardships. That would be enforced by the homeowners associations, but that would be a condition on the approval of any final plat that has to be present.
Questions?
Pretty much eliminates neighborhoods like Lakes of Salem from doing what they're doing.
It eliminates entire for rent
Okay.
subdivisions. You can still rent in subdivisions,
Right.
but there's a cap.
Any other questions? Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve with any reference of the city of Arcade to be changed to the city of Salem.
There were 3 of those that I found, and I have made those changes, and that will be emailed once approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries. Next on the agenda is Baba Sai Inc., alcohol license extension. To approve Baba Sai Inc., Nico Patel, applicant and owner, an extension ending December 31st, 2023 for the selling date of licensed products for the purpose of building construction. Per the December 21st, 2021 regular council meeting minutes, a condition for approval of the alcohol license application stated in the event building construction was delayed, the applicant must return to council and ask for an extension of selling license. An extension was granted on October 6, 2022, and the license was renewed in December of 2022 for the 23 year. Prior to year ending 23, Baba Sai Inc. will apply for their alcohol license renewal for the year of 2024 and request an extension for the selling date of the licensed product for purpose of building construction completion. I believe Mr. Patel is here. Does the council have any questions for Mr. Patel? No questions, then I would ask if there is a motion
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approval?
Yes.
All those opposed? Okay, we have one opposed. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is D.R. Horton seeking consideration for a release of 20 additional building permits prior to the completion of the amenities and relief from note number 28 of the recorded final plat that calls for the common area amenities shown on the final plat be developed as required prior to the issuance of the 42nd building permit. Any questions in reference to this item? Do you have any questions for the counselor?
There's also a representative of D.R. Horton present in case any member has
Okay.
questions for them as well.
I recognize. So are there any questions for the representative? Okay. No questions, I'll ask if there's a motion on the table.
Motion to deny.
Second.
There's a second. Okay, we got Lee on there. All those in favor of denial? Okay, it's unanimous. Next on the agenda is United Rentals to approve signing of a one-year rental contract with United Rentals for an 8-foot by 40-foot ground level office. The purpose of this would be to move the items out of the Public Works building, and give the city an opportunity to find a home for those items, and also we would have to go by the retention of records to see if anything would be eliminated. It's set up for either a year or a month to month. Are there questions on this? This is a climate-controlled unit, by the way.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the rental fee like for a year?
I think it's in here, right? It's $9,000 a year.
How much?
It's $9,000 plus the placement. $9,900, and it's set up for a month to month, but the city could pay it in full. There's a $350 delivery fee.
Could we not buy a small building and rent it for that? Or we have so much?
This would be a 8 by 40 building. We're moving everything out of 2 floors in that building over there. And the problem is our water needs to have climate control. Can't really just put it in a storage, and it's also used when we're given electronic file on plats that we are able to print it out. Other questions or discussion?
How often do we use the plotter?
It's like hit or miss, like anything. Sometimes we use it several times in a month. Sometimes we don't use it for a couple of months. It really depends. We always ask for at least 3 copies plus an electronic version. So with the building that's going on, more than not. Any other questions?
I think the biggest issue is the location of it outside City Hall. If there was another spot for this versus being right beside City Hall, that'd be definitely be preferable.
Okay. The issue is power. Anyone got any suggestions?
So there are places over, where I live, you can rent spots there, a lot less, and it is climate controlled as well. So I think it's rather.
Are they electrified?
Yes, go on there.
They have electric in them?
I assume they do. I don't know. I'll have to go and check. But, I just feel like that's very expensive. And when I walked through there yesterday, it didn't look like a whole lot of, mostly what I saw was maps and things like that, but I didn't see, a whole lot of stuff that was, that couldn't be thrown away or yard sales. If we're not using it, we haven't been using it, then we need to get rid of it.
Counselor, what's the whole law on retention of records for the government entity? Like,
So every city, and I have not seen ours, but most cities adopt a record retention policy that specifies how long they're going to be held. For the most part, I would say the overwhelming majority of cities adopt the state records. So the Department of, I can't remember what it is, but they're the state archives, basically. The old square building down by the Gold Dome. That division of the state government issues a model retention policy, and most cities will just adopt an ordinance or resolution saying, we will at all times follow that. So I don't know if the city has done that. I'm 99% sure it hasn't happened while I've been city attorney, but I would be surprised if we had at some point in time.
Is that what we follow?
That's what we follow.
The state?
I don't know if it's in the ordinance, like Joe said, that's what we follow.
And it varies with what the document is. For instance, if a resume that you don't, interview, I think it's 2 months. If you interview them and don't hire them, it's 6 months. If you hire them, then it's permanent file. It all varies.
The schedules themselves, the model schedules, is like 28 pages. Like, they're very detailed about how long specific documents are.
So as we remove those documents, they'd have to look at what the document is and what the schedule calls for. Primarily, I figure we could get those tubes and roll those up and label them and then review them as we can get to them. But
There's a lot of work up there because there's stuff everywhere, documents and things, so,
yeah,
there's a lot of work to be done. And I realize that, but, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be thrown out the window as well, so.
so with that being said, and this, I guess, goes back to the contract, do you think that if we couldn't get everything out within 30 days by the time close, we'd be able to talk to Mr. Sanders and say, hey, can you just give us a little bit to get all this crap out of here?
You can ask. He's under no obligation to give you that, unless you put it in writing now, and you've already approved the sale. So
Okay,
you're not gonna add a temporary occupancy
right.
rider to it at this point.
no other questions, then I'll call for a motion.
I was
Yeah,
sound out.
is there a motion on the table?
I'd like to table it.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I think we need to look, around versus bringing in, a unit like that. I think, we need to consider what we need, how big we need, based on what we have over there. But we need to organize it and get it organized.
Table until when?
Next meeting. We can, price out a storage unit.
We have that much time.
I haven't,
Not really. I mean, if we can find something in the next week or two and we get that together on it, we can do that.
so I need a date, the
Would
table.
it be possible to put this on the, before the, budget meeting? Since time's kind of the essence.
We'd have to advertise a special call to do it like before the budget.
You'd have to follow the procedures for calling a special call meeting, yes.
Okay.
That,
You would have to advertise it, you'd have to notify the press.
they did us do a little more time to get stuff out if we were able to move it up.
So table
The,
it.
just so you're aware, the agreement is, we gotta have that cleared out in 30 days. So,
Yeah.
so this decision is independent of that, just so you're aware.
So 5/24,
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
and we'll,
So we need Mayor, we need a formal motion to table to May 24th.
I'll make a motion to table it till 5/24.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of tabling it?
Yes.
Okay. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is an ordinance O-23-05. This is a second reading. It's an ordinance to convert vacation and sick time to PTO. I think everyone was given a listing of those changes.
Yeah, I emailed it out, I've never printed it.
Okay. Are there any questions in reference to this ordinance? Any concerns? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Okay, we have a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Next on the agenda is a corrective action plan for fiscal '22 audit. To approve the signing of a corrective action plan for the fiscal '22 audit that addresses findings included in the various auditors' reports prepared as a result of complying with the federal and state audit laws. Every audit, any finding, generally they come out with this report, and we're required to acknowledge it. If you'd like to explain it any better,
Every audit has various findings, and if a finding is made by our auditor, we need, before we submit it to the Department of Community Affairs, we need to present an action plan to take corrective action. That's all this document is the corrective action plan. If you want to flush it out, you can, but that's, what is put in there is sufficient in the Department of Community Affairs.
so there's no questions. Is there a motion on the table?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
That's a motion to approve? Okay.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay. The next on the agenda is an agreement for zoning administration and current planning services. This is to approve the mayor to sign an agreement with Jerry Weiss and Associates Incorporated for various planning and zoning duties. I believe the last one was a 2-year. Do you have any questions as far as the contract that's been reviewed by a counselor? And this is to sign Jerry on. He was, I believe, $95 an hour. His rates have gone up to $115 an hour. And that's for anything that can't be handled administratively in some of the larger developments. Excuse me. Is there any other questions on this agreement?
I don't think it's a question, I think it was a comment. I thought he stepped down because of building.
He said he couldn't take it on full-time, but that is this contract is approving his new rate.
So, I can offer a little insight into that. So obviously, his medical history is pretty well known. And Jerry Weiss is, he's provided consulting zoning services for dozens of municipalities in this area. He has withdrawn as planner for a number of those, but he's held on to certain cities, Jefferson, Statham, to a certain extent Arcade, and a couple others, Pendergrass, Talmo. I think he actually let go of Talmo, and I think he let go of Pendergrass. But the point is, he has offered to continue on as a consultant for us. But this contract also allows him to retain subcontractors to help him out if he's unable to do it.
In addition to that, some of the things that were handled administratively prior to April leaving, the agreement that we signed with Bureau Veritas, one of the modules allows for planning and zoning. So some of the smaller items, I do the initial answers and make sure that the application is done, and then Bureau Veritas can take it from there and issue whatever documents that would be necessary. And then, like I said, for the heavier work, that's where Jerry comes into play. There is a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay, a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the GERMA renewal, to approve the mayor to sign the city's 2023-2024 property liability insurance policy with GERMA for the total amount of $97,688. I believe this is approximately an 8% increase in their price. Any conversation in reference to the renewal? Questions? If not,
Assuming you look it over, Jody. Looks good.
I did.
and is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay, last on the agenda is a resolution R-23-01. A resolution of the council requesting the resignation of the mayor. Is there a motion on the table?
Make a motion to approve R-23-01.
Is there a second?
Is there a second, Scott?
Not yet.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there a further discussion? Well, before I have call for the vote, I have something I would like to read. The council has decided that my actions have violated the charter and that talking to the news media violated their trust and put the city in a liable situation. This council demands that I resign from my elected post. Information provided by the council in this resolution states that I did not seek advice from the attorney and that I did not have the contract renewed. I did seek the advice of the counselor about the events and conversations of that morning. However, I admit to failing to have the contract reviewed. The situation was chaotic, with a disgruntled employee threatening to involve the city in an ugly lawsuit, which she may or may not have won. The cost to the city is a minimum of $25,000 deductible, regardless of that result. A lot more than the severance package that's in dispute. I was acting in the best interest of the city by trying to avoid litigation. The city council wanted April Stevens fired and gone for years, and then when she's terminated, you're still not happy. I asked for impact fees 3 different times based on $2,000 times 320 homes that are built or slated to be built to date. The council voted it and $640,000 down. These fees are collected from the new homes for people moving here and the impact that they have on the community, not the current residents. However, everyone benefits from those funds. I asked for water exploration and water independence. The city council, including 4 members who ran on that platform, voted no. It seems they oppose it now rather than to give the mayor a win. Well, we all lost. Currently, the city has nearly $1.3 million set aside for water exploration and sewer repairs that doesn't come out of tax dollars. One cannot tell the newspaper what to write, and they report on things they hear and see while viewing the meetings in person and online. The council holds me accountable for my actions, yet you will meet in groups of 3 or more, being a quorum. This is a violation of Open Meetings Act. This also puts the city in a liable situation every time you meet in an unadvertised forum. The council says they have lost trust in my actions or motives. This is unjust and misplaced, but this is exactly what you are doing tonight. This resolution is pointless, is non-binding, and just an opportunity to sling political mud at the expense of the taxpayers who expect professional behavior of the adults that they elected to represent all, not just a few. Rather than us engaging in pointless displays, I am asking this council here tonight to work with me so we can make Statham a better, happier place to live and prosper. Thank you. No further discussion. I call for the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Final. Call for an adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Good night.
I got all that time. I won't leave it till the family. Yeah, right, yeah. Members of the council, we need y'all to